living alone, going away for school, you have to learn a lot about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something I suggest anyone do. It doesn't have to be when you're going in for school. It could be like when you're an adult or even when you're in high school, if you go abroad or whatever like that. It's a really good experience, and I suggest anyone and everyone should do it, is to live on your own. So I had to learn how to cook. Before going to university, I didn't know how to do my own laundry, so I had to learn how to do laundry. I had to learn how to prioritize my time. I had to learn how to do dishes. Like anything that is pretty much adulting, I had to learn how to do on my own kind of at Acadia. So it was a really big growing up experience for me.
Hey guys, welcome to the It's Not That Deep podcast. I'm your host, Deepak Sharma. Have you ever been sidelined by some kind of injury that left you not being able to play the sport that you love and are passionate about? Today's guest, Brandon Smith, and I have personally been affected by this, and we talk about overcoming adversity through positive action. We talk about gaining your independence by stepping out of your comfort zone, as well as respecting and appreciating the opposing views of people who you may not agree with. We get into all kinds of deep topics, and I really enjoyed this conversation. If you're enjoying this kind of content and don't want to miss a beat, hit the subscribe button and let me know what you think. Enjoy. All right, man. After a few technical difficulties, let's start this thing up, bro. Nice to have you on the podcast, bro.
I'm glad to be here. I've been looking forward to this.
Me too, man. Me too. We've been talking about doing it for a little while.
Yep.
Actually, I say that every time, but like it's true though.
No, it is.
We have
it
been,
is, yeah.
and I'm excited to have you on, bro.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
We know each other from a while back.
Mhm.
Dating back even beyond high school.
Yep.
Played football together. To this day, we still play football together in a
Facts.
different
Yeah,
capacity.
Exactly.
But man, let's talk about that, bro. Let's talk about our football journey, bro.
First of all, before we start, I just want to show everyone my ring here. If you didn't notice it, I mentioned this because one of my friends who went to St. Pete's and played football there, he posted today. I'm not going to say his name, but he's a good friend of mine, and he posted basically saying how they used to slap up Sir Will, and just a little confused by the ice here as to what happened that year against us. But anyway, moving on.
He's gonna see this in like 2 weeks and be like,
Maybe.
no, but man, you guys held it down, bro.
No,
You
it's no
guys,
disrespect though.
no, for sure.
Just had to,
It's all love. You guys held it down, man. The year after I graduated, and we just won 2 Tier 2 championships in a row. You guys went and got the Tier 1 championship against St. Pete's.
Yeah.
Which is crazy, man.
Man, that was a long time coming because, so I didn't play in grade 9, but in grade 10, we went undefeated in the regular season, and then we played them in the finals, and we were their only loss. So it was 8-0 against 7-1.
Yeah, that's crazy.
They ended up beating us.
That's when you were junior, right?
Junior.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's what grade 10 is. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's hype, man.
And then grade 11,
that team was nice.
Yeah, they were good, and we were good.
Yeah.
So then anyway, grade 11, we're Tier 2. And we win the Tier 2 championship, which was awesome. Then grade 12, we're back against that same kind of crew that beat us in the finals.
Yep.
So regular season, we're both undefeated. We play each other, but this time they win in the regular season.
Yep.
So regular season ends, we're 7-1, they're 8-0. One thing leads to another. We meet in the finals again, but same thing. 7-1 team wins, we win.
Jeez.
And it was kind of too perfect.
Do you remember the score?
Of the finals?
Yeah.
I think it was 21 or 24-14, I think. I think it was 24-14.
Damn, man.
I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong, though.
That was probably a fucking memorable time, bro.
And as soon as we got that go-ahead touchdown, I'm pretty sure it started snowing. Like, if you've seen the pictures.
I've seen the photos, yeah.
There's snow everywhere, and we're running and sliding, and when we won, it was surreal for real.
Must have been a hell of an experience, bro.
It was.
And then, going on to play OFSA as well.
Yeah.
That's not something Sir Will gets to do every year.
No.
Yeah, bro. We had good athletes, but with St. Pete's right across the street, with those guys, they put up numbers against us for sure. Like I'm not gonna downplay that.
Yeah.
No,
I know what you mean.
Especially like some of my teams, some of my years. bro, we were
Yeah, you
just
guys had it rough, man.
we had it rough, bro.
Because you're the same age as some of the craziest ballers to come out of the city: Tyrone Pierre, Jalen King,
Facts.
Jake Malinsky.
Oh yeah.
There's a bunch of them that are 95s like you.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, I never had to play against them because, well, I did in grade 11, I guess. Or no, we were in tier 2, so
Mhm.
I never would have played against them really in high school. I just played with them outside of high school.
Facts,
But,
bro.
so
Same
yeah, you
here,
had
man.
it rough, man.
And like it wasn't even just contained to high school; it was outside of high school. Like me, my
True,
whole life,
True, Bengals.
growing
right?
up from my like, I don't was it Pee Wee or Mosquito?
I think probably
Mosquito days,
Yeah.
going back to then. Like I think our first Mosquito Madness. You remember Mosquito Madness,
I do,
bro?
yeah.
I remember like that. And for those listening who have no idea what Mosquito Madness, it's like a small little mini tournament where you're. It sounds kind of absurd because it's the sport of football, right?
Yeah.
You play a bunch of little mini scrimmage games
Yeah,
before the season starts, and like
kind of see what you're made of.
I still remember my first experience like being on a football field. You know, the coaches didn't even know where to put me.
Mhm.
There was this big ass brown dude who like obviously he has size and like kind of has speed, but
Yeah.
like no coordination. Like has no idea like really what he's doing. He's just big and strong.
Yeah,
Let's put him on O line.
there you go.
Nah, I was not down for that. I was like, fuck that. This is dope.
Nope.
Like, I did not sign up for football to
Yeah.
play O-line. No disrespect to my
No,
big
I know
dogs
what you
out there.
mean, man.
It just wasn't for me. So what
how
they
about
naturally
how about
do-
I tell you, my first year ever playing football,
Yeah.
I was an O-lineman too.
That- I
and
can't
rocked
believe
number
that.
69, yeah.
I can't believe
I should
that,
have brought
bro.
the picture. Yeah, I did. Sorry,
69.
continue.
I think my first jersey I got was like a 69. But it was like double XL, like way too big. Didn't
I
even fit me.
swear they just give that to the immigrant kid on the O-line.
I swear to
every
God.
time.
But then, yeah, just finishing that, it was
Mhm.
like after O-line, I think they put me on D-line. They're like, all right, let's see what
Mm.
this guy like can do on defense. And to me, like, I wanted to play running back. You know, I'm thinking, you
Ooh.
know, watching football, you're like,
Yeah.
a receiver's cool and whatever, but I want to rock
Mhm.
every play
Mhm.
and I want to do damage with it. That's like
Yep.
just a position that just
Yep.
watching on the screen, like that was my knowledge of football, right? I was like watching NFL games and just
Yeah.
like, yeah, bro, that's hype. Like that's the shit right there.
Yeah.
Just like right up the fucking like B gap, boom, gone. I get put on the D line. I have no idea what I'm doing. They're like, all right, there's this like bag, you know, the thing you got to hit, jack up. They're like,
Yeah.
all right, we want you to hit this as hard as you can. I'm like, I do it. Horrible form. They're like, nah, man, like this, like jack it up. And I swear I fucked that thing up. They're like, yeah, you're playing defense. And I think I played defense ever since. And like, I remember those first drills hitting those bags. You know, just like the coach would hold it and you're learning how to form
Yeah,
tackle.
Yeah.
I was like so bored of that stuff, but I was killing it.
Yeah.
I was just like murking the
Yeah.
bag too much. And then when Mosquito Madness came around,
Mhm.
I think my first experience like ever playing like in a legit like football simulated environment was
Yeah.
against the Panthers. And I think I
Mm.
got like some crazy sack. This is before I even had got my socks yet. Like
Jeez.
before like, and I was just like, yo, I love this. This
Yeah.
is fun. I
Yeah.
can legally fuck people up
Yeah.
and like get like that internal, like that glory
Yes,
for it too.
yes.
Like that internal feeling and also everyone like,
Exactly.
fire you up,
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
internal and external, man. for real.
Football is definitely one of the passions of mine, and I know it's a passion of yours,
Yeah,
man, because
man.
we still play every Sunday in
Yeah.
a flag league together.
Yep, yep. 9-0.
Yep, 9-0, man. We're killing it this season. It's been dope since the merger for sure,
Definitely,
yo.
definitely.
Yeah, see, I had my own team for a
Mhm.
few years now, and we were kind of not playing too well, especially when it came to the playoffs. That's a little bit of a downplay of like the last two seasons. We got our ass kicked.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
It wasn't a good situation, but you know now we figured things out a little bit. I
Yeah.
think the quarterback situation
Yes.
helped a lot.
That's what it is. for sure.
You know, Vic is super nice. Not to say Steph is not, but you know, just the way he works. Like even with this team, he's playing well, man. He's carried our friggin'
Yeah.
our team for like 4 or 5 games now after Vic got hurt.
Yeah,
so
he's really holding it down, man.
he's for
doing
sure.
his
He's for
thing.
sure. Like I'm not downplaying that, but we had some rough seasons,
Mhm.
man, and you can't just blame it on one thing. That's
No.
the beautiful thing about football. It's
Yeah.
a team fucking sport.
Exactly.
Everyone's gotta
Mhm.
gel together, and that's why I could never really watch like tennis. I'm not a huge. I might like go to the driving range and shoot like a few balls, but
Yeah.
I don't watch golf.
No.
Like, football is to me one of the most ultimate team sports, and
is,
you
yeah.
know that more than anyone because not only did you played at Acadia
Mhm.
before you had an injury, right?
Yeah.
Why don't you tell me a little bit about that experience, man?
All right. So went to Acadia. They recruited me out of high school. By the way, love the East Coast. It was one of the greatest places I ever been. That's where I got this wine here. But so yeah, they recruited me out of high school, and took a visit out there. Yeah, it was a really good visit. Got to see the town a little bit. Enjoyed it a lot, and I ended up committing. So I went there in 2014. Training camp comes around, playing well. I was well enough to do, I was in second string at weak side wide receiver at the time, so I was happy about that. Exhibition game comes around, had a big catch for 39 yards on one of my first or second drives in the game.
Okay, were
It
you
was,
playing slot?
No, I was playing wide receiver.
Oh, wide
Yeah, I
receiver.
was
wide
playing
receiver.
W or X, sorry.
Dope.
So got to catch up the sideline for 39. Felt good.
I love how you remember the exact yardage.
Oh yeah. That's my one and only CIS catch. So
Okay.
I got to remember,
No, facts.
Yeah. So later on in the game, I'm blocking, and ended up pushing a guy. Got the nice block, but a teammate of his on the defense was running the opposite direction. I was kind of in an awkward position. Caught a thigh to the top of the head, compressed my spine. And then anyway, so fast forward a couple weeks, I got an MRI done. They see that my neck is all messed up.
Jeez,
And
man.
I remember the doctor was telling me all this stuff like medical mumbo jumbo, and I'm just sitting there, I think I was like 18. I'm like, okay.
So
but
when can I play?
When can I play next?
When can I play?
Say, okay,
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying, and the stenosis and this vertebrae and that thing and that. When could I play?
That's mad, bro.
And then I remember I let him finish. He said everything he was going to say, all that medical stuff. And then I was like, so how long am I going to be out? And then he looked at me like he could tell I wasn't really listening because, like, I guess what he had said would be clear that I shouldn't play anymore. And he was like, I don't think you should ever play contact sports again. And I was like, the first time you hear that, if you ever seen like Friday Night Lights when Booby Miles,
Fast.
he's like, nah, like you don't believe it. I was like,
Yeah.
never play again.
Yeah.
And then he's like, yeah, like the way your spine is set up, shout out to Kevin Hart, you shouldn't play contact sports again. And I was like, man, like, just hit me. But the coaches at Acadia, Jeff Cummins, shout out to Jeff, all the guys there, they were really supportive. Coach Tufford, who is now, I think he was at SMU, but I'm not sure where he is now. That was my receivers coach. They were all really supportive. They welcomed me back with open arms, and they told me I could help out with the team in some other capacity. So I helped with equipment. I did some filming. I did some charting for the coaches.
So you were always still involved in the
stayed
team.
involved with the team. And
Yeah.
to be honest, like I probably would have done it either way, just because all my boys were on the team.
Yeah.
So like I didn't really have too many friends outside of the team anyway. So when they were going to do practice or meetings or whatever, I would just go anyway because otherwise I'd just be alone chilling. So
That must have been such a tough thing
it was tough for sure
to deal with, man, because
was.
like an injury like that is not only so like abrupt,
Mm-hmm.
but it happened right at the beginning of what's
Yeah.
supposed to be your collegiate career in football.
Yeah. It leaves you with that what could have been.
That what could have been, bro. And I can relate, man. You know, I've had a couple injuries myself in my day, with my shoulder, but I can't even compare it to having it. Not to sound dramatic, but all taken away just at once.
It was, yeah.
Because, like people don't realize that when you're so invested in something, like when this is something that you do and you're passionate about, and the camaraderie and like having the routine and the drive and love for something just be robbed from you, just like for something that's out of your control. It's not like you were fucking up in school.
No,
it's not like you were, drinking like a savage or making some crazy off the field decisions.
Nope.
Straight up doing what you love.
Yeah.
It's like, but I don't know. Do you feel sometimes that like it happens for a reason?
That was exactly what I was gonna say. So it's hard to see, and it's still hard to see. Like I'd be lying if I said, oh, it was hard to see, and now I see clearly it meant for this to happen. But it's still hard to see why it had to be taken away. But I also look back And I look now at the things that I'm doing and how that changed me, and I think that I'm a better person for it. And I still am involved with the sport of football in a lot of ways that I really love. So I'm coaching 2 teams right now. Love NFL football. And now that my boys are all starting to go up in the CFL, I love CFL football now. I was at the Hamilton-Toronto game the other weekend when they 50-pieced them, which was crazy.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I'm coaching. I play flag football. I'm involved with football in a lot of ways. So
Right. You never let it completely
no,
exit,
exactly.
which is what a lot of football players and a lot of us
Yep.
injured athletes,
I know what you mean. Yeah.
a lot of us injured athletes just kind of like go through life doing. It's like, yo, we still gotta live and you still gotta like do something with it. You can't just mope around and just like, just fucking reminisce on the high school days.
I know,
As much
yeah.
as that's fun to do
It is.
sometimes, you still got a life to live and you still have a big life to make. And you know, like what you said with the coaching, you're making a huge impact, man. I want to hear more about the coaching. Tell me a little bit about that.
Man.
How's that going for you?
I love coaching. I actually missed my last 2 practices, unfortunately. One of them I had just come home from Toronto at about 4 a.m. and the practice was at 9. So
Okay.
I set my alarms and then I woke up at like 11. I was like, and
It
then the
happens.
last one I missed. It was
Hey,
scheduled
man,
for a
cheers,
different
by the
day.
way, bro.
Cheers, cheers.
Thanks for bringing this.
No problem. It's better like colder, but
All
it's
good,
still
man.
Good.
Yeah, so, you know, you're coaching them, and
Mhm.
so what's the biggest difference between the 2 teams for you right now?
Well, one team is an NCAFA team. It's the used to be the Bengals, and now called the Raftsmen, the Bantam Bengals team for NCAFA.
Right.
And we're
They
still
change
kind
their
of
name all the time. man.
yeah. They're trying to get more kids. We don't have too many right now. I think we have about around 20 hovering there.
And what age group is that? Remind everyone.
I think they are 12 and 13 or 13 and 14.
Okay.
Yeah, something like that.
Interesting.
And so yeah, we're trying to get some more kids out. We've been doing some kind of developmental sessions, but it's going good. The kids are getting better. They're learning, which is what I really do it for.
Right.
And then the other team we're called the Summer Elite Team Junior GGs. So we're a little more legit right now. So we got a lot of players. We've been going for quite a while, and we're in a tournament next weekend. So
Okay,
see how
dope.
that goes. Play some Quebec teams.
That's awesome, man. So what age group is that team?
That team is one age younger. So I think that team might be 12, 13 or 13, 14. And then the Bantam team is 14, 15, I think. That's what it is. Yeah.
And is it directly affiliated with Ottawa U? Like, is it trying
They
to...
are, yeah. So we wear Ottawa U jerseys. They wear their own NCAFA helmets. So we
Okay.
got players from Panthers. I don't think we have any Bengals. Maybe 1 or 2. And then we have some Bell Warriors. We have Myers Riders. We have Nepean Eagles. We have players from like pretty much everywhere in NCAFA.
That's awesome,
They all
man.
come together and just make one strong team. So
That's dope. I actually
Yeah.
like that. That was like kind of like similar to what they used to do with some of those, like, what was it?
OPFL?
Like, OVFL.
they still got that.
And
They
like,
still got that.
how's that going?
So the reason that
Because now I'm seeing so many leagues, so much
yeah,
popping up.
yeah,
Like
there's a
me, I haven't been involved the way
Mhm.
you have in the
Mhm.
last couple of years with football, especially locally.
lot. Yeah,
But things are changing. Like
they're changing.
there's
They're
a
always
there's a big
changing.
demand for football in the capital,
It'll
bro.
probably change next year too.
Hmm.
I don't know, but so basically it started out used to be mostly OVFL, which was teams from all across Ontario would play each other regular season East and West, and then there's a finals and there's a provincial champion crown, and then I think it was 2 or 3 years ago the OPFL started because some of the team owners or presidents for the VFL teams, they didn't like how the league was being run, so they figured, hey, we're just going to get our own teams, assemble, bring the good teams with us that aren't kind of weighing the league down. We'll start our own new league. It'll be better. The fees will be lower. We'll just work it out. It'll be better. So we did that for, I think, 2 years. And then, as usual, something always tends to go wrong. So we left that league, and now we're not in the the Panthers are not in the OVFL or OPFL. We are now just doing this set program. But the OVFL, I think, still has the Myers Riders. And I think the OPFL still has the Ottawa Sooners, if I'm not mistaken.
It's a lot of politics too.
There's a lot of politics, man.
That's
There's a lot of politics.
It's a lot to handle, you know, especially on the back end.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not just playing, but
Yeah.
seeing the other side of things.
Man,
Does it make you want to pursue coaching as a professional thing ever?
So I get asked that question sometimes, and in terms of coaching professionally, I don't think I would ever go out and seek to do it. But if for some reason it fell into my lap and it was
An
something that
opportunity just
and it
presented
made
itself.
sense,
Yeah, yeah.
then I would think about it. I would consider it, but I'm definitely not looking for and seeking to kind of move up with it. You know.
Right. That's really interesting, man. I think when it comes to coaching football, it's something that's, I've thought about before,
Yeah.
and I haven't
I
had.
asked you to help me out with these
Yeah,
RASMs, man.
yeah. Could not commit, brother,
Yeah.
but I really do appreciate that.
No, it's okay.
You even thinking about me to do that.
Yeah.
But I don't think I enjoy it the same way.
Mm-hmm.
I just straight up, it's just like that side of things. Man, I just like watching and playing the
Yeah,
game.
bro.
I don't know. I'm like that side of things is too much. Like I would want to just go in there and do it myself. I can be a bit of a control freak in that sense, and that
Yeah.
like if something's not in my control,
Mm-hmm.
like even sometimes like playing flag, bro. If there's a really important like drive or something on defense, I'm like, yeah, nah, I need to be out there, bro.
I know what you mean, man.
Like I'm not ready to tuck that away yet.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Here's what I'll tell you though, and I have this. Like, I have the exact same mindset. Like if I used to play offense receiver, so if there's a big play, I kind of wanted it to come my way.
I played a little tight end too, bro.
Exactly. That's true. So what really makes coaching worth it for me is I'll never forget in my first year coaching, there was a kid, and you give him coaching points and you're giving everyone coaching points and you're telling them what you used to do. And then there's a moment where you'll tell a kid a coaching point. He'll do a rep and he'll do it less than par. He'll do it a bad rep or whatever. He'll come back. You'll give him the coaching point, and the next time he goes up, he does it how you said it, and it works, and he's successful using the tool that you gave him. And you, as a coach, watching that, for me, that's what makes coaching worth it. That's why I keep going back year after year.
That's a beautiful
And
thing, man.
The more you coach, the more it happens, and you teach a kid how to stem, and then he's running ins, and he keeps getting blocked up by the corner, and then you teach him how to stem, and he stems him up, and he runs a perfect in, and he gets a catch. Like to me, there's nothing better than that.
No, that's amazing, bro. That must be such a hype feeling, like seeing what you're actually like, what you've experienced, and passing it on. Like, yo,
and the whole control thing. Like sometimes I kind of see some of myself in some of these receivers, like some more than others, obviously, and some of them that even look like me in the way they run routes and stuff. So it's kind of cool to see that too, and see them grow up and coach them through the years. It's pretty cool.
I want to circle back to the injury a little bit.
Okay.
I want to talk about how you feel about the sport of football as a whole and the impact of these injuries. You mentioned like you could have been paralyzed.
Yeah, I was really close. I was close to being paralyzed.
You could have been paralyzed with something that it's not like you could have avoided it. You know what I'm saying?
No,
It wasn't like you put yourself in the position.
No.
It was just a freak accident play.
Like most things in football are.
Exactly. So
there's bodies everywhere and legs where they shouldn't be, and it's just one of those sports.
So that's just your view on it? It's just one of those sports. You don't think in the future it's gonna be around? Like, do you think, like,
I hope it is.
With what we're hearing now about concussions.
Yeah.
And
they're trying to
it's
trying
not
to mold the
sorry.
rules.
I had to correct myself on that. It's not what we're hearing. It's what we know.
Yeah.
It's a fact now that CTE, a chronic traumatic encephalopathy, I believe. Maybe I'm fucking that up.
I don't know.
I think that's what CTE stands for, but they're finding it out now, and like they only used to be able to detect it, I think, in like dead patients and cadavers, and now they have some tests where they can see it in people who are living, and we used to just think it's big hits, big helmet to helmet contact. It's the everyday little hits, the O lineman, the D lineman, every little practice, every tackle, every little, it's jolting your brain. It's literally moving your brain. And I don't know I'm not a scientist.
But I think that's pretty close.
But it's definitely not good for your health or your long-term well-being, sustaining that amount of hits. And you see the sport changing now to adapt
Yeah.
with it. You're seeing, I think some CFL teams don't have contact practice.
Mhm.
You're seeing that trickle down into colleges in the States and whatnot. But
It's rare to see contact in practice now.
football is a contact sport.
Yeah.
So should you not have practice, having contact in practice for the
I think
game?
you should. My personal opinion is that you should, but it should be controlled. It should be what's called thud, which is basically it's the same as tackle, except you don't bring them to the ground. You kind of make impact and you wrap, but you don't actually bring them to the ground.
I always hated that shit, bro.
You don't like that. I mean, most defensive players don't, because it's hard to.
Well, how do you
yeah.
train someone to? Okay, we want you to be aggressive, bust through the line, completely like get through, fuck a guy up,
Mm-hmm.
and like he's your boy.
And then hug someone.
But then hug him and just like kind of gently lay him to the ground, like.
Or not even, and if it's stud, you gotta leave him up.
If it's stud, you can't even like take him to the ground, like even accidentally, man. That's a problem. It's like.
Yep.
It's like all these little cute little tweaks we're making to what is just a fucking contact sport.
Yeah.
I think there's a bigger underlying question there. It's like,
Yeah.
to me personally, and as much as I love football, like I don't think I had to sell that any more than I have.
No.
I don't think like NFL like or these kinds of leagues are gonna be around in like 30 years. I think honestly in like 30 years from now, it's like we're gonna view it as such a ridiculous thing that like
Yeah.
we're voluntarily subjecting youths to this, but it's such a dope sport.
It
There's
is.
like I can't speak enough on the positives and how much it's molded me into the man I am today.
Same.
I can't speak enough about the camaraderie, the teamwork,
Mhm.
what I learned about discipline, what I learned, about like putting work in, working 1,000 times harder in practice so that the game you're ready
Yep.
for any situation.
Mm-hmm.
These kinds of things that like without sport, and it's not just football, but without sport you can't just pick it up.
No,
There's
it's not one of
something
those
pure
things,
and beautiful. But I think we're heading towards more of a flag, more of a maybe even a thud league.
Yeah.
Where like imagine that it
Scary to
might
think
sound
about.
absurd, but if you ask someone 25 years ago if half the rules today would
Yeah.
be
They
like,
used to clothesline receivers.
oh yeah, they used to clothesline them, then they told them, all right, you can't hit them high, you gotta go low. Now they're like, you can't go low.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you supposed to do, man? Where do I hit you? So
That's one of the worst rules I find is the targeting rule, especially in college football, where you get ejected for targeting. And one thing that I don't think a lot of people that know football think about. So you see it's whatever, it's a throw down the sideline or a throw over the middle in a safety, or someone cracks the receiver's head, and you always think, oh, like he didn't have to hit him that hard. And it's like, if you're a quarterback, why are you throwing that pass?
Damn.
Should the onus not be on the quarterback to not get his guy laid out
Little
and
bit.
not on the DB?
yeah,
Every instinct that you have as a DB is, oh my goodness, this guy's in my zone. He doesn't see me. I'm going to lay him out.
and
Every instinct you have as a football player in general.
adding to that too, you're often running full tilt
Yes.
just to catch up with this guy who tactically, like, if we're just looking at what football is, tactically he has the advantage
Yeah.
because he is running straight and he's already got all the momentum. If you're a DB and you gotta rotate quickly and get to someone, but you have that speed closing in on him, how are you supposed to really control that when a ball is dropping?
You don't. Yeah.
It's
That's why you
very
see the
tough, man.
penalties.
It's very tough, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, some of the onus has to be on the quarterback, but
Should
then
be.
you could play this game all day. Then the onus could be on like the O lineman for not protecting the quarterback enough so he
But-
could make a normal, proper
Yeah,
pass,
I
have
guess
enough
so.
time. Like you could.
It
It's
just
the
keeps going
sport,
back, yeah.
man. It's the sport.
Team sport. You're right. Yeah.
It's a team. It always comes back to that. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. It's crazy. I love the sport. I think we're gonna see some weird shit.
Yeah.
I think that American Flag League is going to be a lot more poppin' than you think.
I think so.
When the
Maybe-
NFL
maybe.
gets hit with a big enough class action that, like,
It's coming.
I don't even want to really get into, like, some of the shit that these brain injuries do to people, man.
Yeah.
But it's dark. It's not good, man.
No,
it's
it's
not good.
bad,
And
man.
I think if I had a child today, and given like what I've been through with like my shoulders dislocating more than I can count, definitely like, I feel like 100 times each, bro. Both of my shoulders been popped out so many times. Surgery on this one, like, I don't think I'd want to subject my kids to that. If I had kids today that wanted to play contact football, I would probably sway them towards something a bit safer.
Yeah.
Like, I'd probably try to like get them into some kind of martial art, but then again, like, that's how, like, you know, you can't
win, man.
you can't walk around in like in bubble wrap
Mm-hmm.
and live life at the same time, you know.
My kid's gonna play football, man.
Yeah,
If my
for
kids,
sure.
if my kids want to play football, I should say.
Yeah.
One day when I have kids, if they want to play football, I'm gonna give them every opportunity. I'm gonna coach them.
Of course you will, man.
Hell yeah.
That's hype, man.
Looking forward to it.
Let's go back to your time in Acadia, bro.
Yeah.
Tell me about Acadia a little bit. Tell me about like the town out east. What's it like down there?
So, man, going to Acadia, there's sometimes when I look back football wise, and like maybe if I went somewhere else I wouldn't have got hurt, but there's no way of knowing maybe what happened later on. But in terms of where I went to school and the people and the experience, I got no regrets going to Acadia. So they were pretty much the school that recruited me the hardest coming out of high school. And so I ended up going on a visit, went there, and it's a really, really small town, as we were talking about earlier. And just being that small of a town, you're always seeing people you know downtown or on campus, which is kind of cool. It's kind of like a big high school. A lot of people call it like Acadia High School, so it's kind of funny there. But that's where the wine's from. I loved going there, though. The classes were small. The people were nice. And it's just a cool experience, man. Like, I loved a lot of my profs, and like the stuff they taught was it was able to hit home more just because the classes were so small. And you know, living alone, going away for school, you have to learn a lot about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something I suggest anyone do. It doesn't have to be when you're going in for school. It could be like when you're an adult, or even when you're in high school, if you go abroad or whatever like that. It's a really good experience, and I suggest anyone and everyone should do it, is to live on your own. So I had to learn how to cook. Before going to university, I didn't know how to do my own laundry, so I had to learn how to do laundry. I had to learn how to prioritize my time. I had to learn how to do dishes. Like anything that is pretty much adulting, I had to learn how to do on my own kind of at Acadia. So it was a really big growing up experience for me, and I really appreciate it for that.
That's so powerful, man.
Yeah.
Like what you just said right now about having that independence and growing as a young man into, you know, someone who can take care of themselves and not rely on anybody to do what sounds like just mundane day-to-day shit. Like, bro, how hard's laundry? Like,
It's
yo,
not that
dishes. It's not that it's hard, bro. It's that you had to experience doing it
Exactly.
and managing your time effectively enough to be able to do that and do the things you want to do and study and this and that. Like, it's a big balancing act. And you know, for me personally, when I was lucky enough to go on international exchange, that changed my life, man. And like you said, I would recommend that to everybody. Like me, I got to go to Bergen, Norway, which was like,
let me hear about it, man.
Oh man, it was a badass experience, bro. Like, it was not at all what I expected, you know. Obviously, Scandinavia is pretty similar to Canada in a lot of ways. But it's also like equally different in how you experience and look at things. Like for me, a big thing was I already had family in Norway, in the capital city Oslo.
Really?
So yeah, I actually I have a bunch of cousins there. So yeah, like shout out to brown people in Norway. So
hold it down.
Yeah. My dad's late brother and his sister are in Norway, and my dad's younger sister, or still older sister, but the younger sister of the siblings is here in Canada. So my dad came to Canada, and the other two went to Norway. So it's kind of funny how that worked out, because like I think of an alternate universe where I was raised in Norway with like a sick Norwegian like accent and shit. No, but I go there.
They got cool accents out there?
They do, man. It's different. It's very different. It's like very recognizable now. It's like very close to Swedish, right? Like
Okay.
if you picture like a Swedish voice in your
Yeah,
head,
yeah.
I'm not even gonna try to mimic
Yeah.
it. Uh, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
it's a
No, I
Swedish
got you. I got
Swedish
you.
kind of voice because
Mhm.
they're right next to each other.
Okay.
But they would hate the comparison. So
Okay.
yeah, but Norway was a trip, man. Like just being there for 6 months, I grew so much as a man. I made amazing lifelong connections. I made friends with people who I talk to this day all the time, and like people I wish I could talk to more.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got to travel with these people. I got out of my comfort zone. I got to experience a lot of Europe. Like that's the best part about Europe. It's like getting on a bus to just I'm going to Greece today. You know what? Might do 3 weeks
It's like
in
that,
Italy.
huh?
Might just go to London, Amsterdam. Like I got to
Yeah.
like if you see my like shot glasses, it's super like cheesy because I'm not a very
My
good
dad used to do that.
I'm not a souvenir guy.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like the complete like trope. It's like the thing you do.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's
But
fair.
to me, it's like just a little token, a little memory. Like I went to this country, probably had a drink or two there
Yeah,
too,
Yeah.
and you know, I loved it, man. And
Nice.
you know, I could sit here and talk about it all day, but like my biggest takeaway, like it wasn't even the school part, like the school meh,
Yeah.
whatever, you know, it was being completely surrounded by like other people from all around the world who are also doing the same thing, who are also just like,
Yeah.
let's be friends.
From different backgrounds. and
Different
everything, yeah.
backgrounds, like German people, Swiss people, French. Like I
So
made
how did you guys communicate? Like,
Oh,
did
we
everyone
pretty
talk
much-
English.
yeah, pretty much everyone could talk English. Some people had a lot thicker accents than others.
Mm.
Some people like it was kind of difficult, like getting
Yeah.
over some language things. Like I had a Brazilian friend. Shout out to Rafael.
Nice.
You know, I made some American friends, some Norwegian friends, and like I could shout them out all day, but like
Yeah,
we
yeah.
don't have 6 hours.
Yeah, I
you
know
know,
what you mean.
I love these people, and like I'm really happy to have met them. And you know, they always have a couch to sleep on, and
Nice.
like I feel like with a lot of them, it's the same way. And but the problem is sometimes it's like you only have so much time. How am I gonna link up with all these people that I want to? Like,
In
while
different countries.
I got this life here in Canada, you know.
Exactly.
So, but the biggest thing you said to me was like being able to live on your own for the first time. I got so much, not even just time, but like soul searching. I was able to sit down and think like, all right, yo, like I gotta cook meals for the week, so I gotta do groceries. So what do I gotta buy?
Mhm.
How do I chop it up? Like
Yeah.
all this like basic
all
shit. I was
new.
proud of like making a pasta plate
Same.
with some like meat,
Yeah.
you know, some proper cheese, like all kinds of shit. Like I look at that like, dang, bro, yo, you did this, bro.
Yeah.
No one had to make this shit for you, and like
You enjoy it more.
I love it, man. Like I think everyone, like, I'm not shitting on people who like live it with their parents up until like a crazy age. Like there's nothing wrong with staying with your parents if that works for you, and
Mhm.
like you know, financially you come out on
Yeah,
top,
definitely.
and like, you know, there's a lot of benefits to it. But to me, I don't know, like I love my parents to death, that was never a question, but you got to get out there and experience the world on your
Yeah.
own. And I feel my relationship with my parents has improved since I moved out here too.
Same. Yeah.
Like it's tenfold. Like I love it, man.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need your space.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Man, you just learn a lot, and like you have fun too. Like you know, you're 18 or however old you are when you move out, you're gonna have fun.
You're gonna have fun, but also you realize that like you gotta pay the fucking bills. So there's only so much fucking fun you can have, because like
That's when you,
You
get a
go-
job at the student bar. Shout out to the Axe.
so like, you know, there's only so many times you're gonna wanna, I guess, text your parents like, yo, save me.
Yeah, yeah.
There's only so much ramen I could
Yeah.
eat. Like I'm not gonna lie, I had to send a few of those texts even when I was
Mhm.
in Norway.
Same.
Like, yo,
Yeah.
mom and dad, and I know they're probably listening too. Like, thank you for holding it down. You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah.
needed, what I needed more beer money.
No, but it was for books.
No, it was I needed school supplies.
Yeah, school
I was
supplies.
studying
yeah.
very hard there. Yeah,
Oh,
all I
damn.
needed was a 50 to pass, bro. That was the thing about exchange that was dope.
Nice.
It was like the school pressure, like wasn't the same as it was here, man.
Yeah.
Obviously, and actually I did better. Like I did better
Because
than
you don't feel pressure.
I did better than I do here, and also their school system. Like I was taking master's courses there,
Mm-hmm.
and like you said, small classroom, a lot of one-on-ones with the teachers, a
Yeah.
lot of activity-based learning.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really fuck with activities usually, I thought, but these kinds of activities were actually like, okay, so let me rewind. Like this is how
Sure.
they set up their classes. The ones I took, like the business at the school I went to, the business school, they're like, your exam is worth 100% of your mark, your
Okay.
final exam. Everything up until then, it's just like almost like participation marks. Like it doesn't really matter. You
Okay.
you have like one
But you
project.
should do it. So that
You should do it
yeah.
because if you don't, like you're kind of fucked for the exam.
That'd be
So
hard to.
it sounds fucked up, right?
Yeah.
But it's so much less day-to-day pressure because I don't know. For me, it worked because I was like, yo, I can do my own thing at my own pace. And it's not to say I'm going to completely slack off. I still studied my ass off when I had to.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
But whereas, like, I don't know, it's not a direct comparison, but a lot of the classes here, and you're also often taking 5 of them, you're just like, yo, bro, all these quizzes, assignments, readings, this, that, 100 different things, and you want me to live my life at the same time? Like,
No.
I can see why so many people like crack or like can't deal with the
Mhm.
pressure or turn to things to deal with the pressure,
Yep.
or like, use things as a crutch
Yeah.
just to get through.
Yeah.
That's not healthy,
Yeah. I've seen people fail out. Seen a lot of people start taking Adderall nonstop,
Yep.
and a lot of people, become coffee addicts.
Oh yeah, I think I fall into that category for sure, man.
Yeah. But I'm happy I got through 4 years without. I don't think I ever had a coffee.
You never had a coffee in
Never
your
had a
life.
coffee.
You're a
Whenever I had to
psychopath.
stay up for like an assignment, I'd take one of those little 5-hour energies.
Yeah, so you had caffeine.
Yeah, I guess. I didn't say I didn't have caffeine. I just
Yeah,
said I didn't have
facts.
coffee.
All
But,
right. Is it just you don't like the taste, or is it like a thing? Like I'm not having coffee.
I feel like it gets addictive, or at least that's what I've heard from some people. That like,
I think the feeling of
Pause,
coffee is quite addictive because what it does is like, I don't actually know what it does scientifically, but it makes you more anxious. So by being more anxious, a lot of the times I feel like you get more done,
yeah,
which is not necessarily like a healthy thing all the
No, it
time.
doesn't sound healthy.
No, but like, and a lot of our lives and how we live them, getting things done is a priority.
Yeah,
And
it is.
depending
it really
on
is.
your priorities. So, I'm just sounding like I'm defending coffee, but like I'm just
To each their own, man.
no. I'm just saying like it's a stimulant. It makes your heart beat faster. It legit like, but it's definitely bad for you. I need to cut back because I've noticed like on a day when I don't have one in the morning now,
Mm-hmm.
I get like headaches.
Yeah.
I legit go through withdrawal symptoms on like a mild level.
Jeez, that's
And
crazy.
it doesn't really go away unless I just have a coffee or like another thing, cold shower.
Cold shower helps.
If I take a cold shower, I don't need a coffee. But I don't like taking cold showers.
No, that doesn't sound fun.
Unless I'm in India and it's 50 degrees out and I have to take a cold shower
Yeah.
and I want to take a cold
Yeah.
shower, I don't enjoy it. I still do it from time to time because I do believe in like pushing your body to weird extremes from time to time. Shout out to Joe Rogan.
Yeah. Love
But,
Joe Rogan, man.
Yeah, man, his podcasts are a big inspiration for me,
Yeah.
man, for sure.
Have you seen one of the latest ones he did about Miss Pat?
No, man.
So if anyone hasn't seen it, if you've never seen Joe Rogan, first of all, you should check him out. He's I listen while I'm at work. It's really good in the car too. You learn a lot. It's just all kinds of different people come on, like comedians and neurosurgeons, authors, writers,
Astrophysicists, Navy
He's
SEALs.
like any kind of person you could think of. They've been on Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
So he had a comedian named Miss Pat on. I think it was last week or earlier this week, and she's the funniest human I've ever heard in my life. There's one story she told, and she was kind of talking to Joe, and she said, "Joe, you ever heard about that illiterate dick?" And there's some things that you hear as a person, and you're just like, you don't even
It's absurd. Like
before they can follow up and explain themselves, you're just like what? And that was one of those moments for me. And Joe Rogan had the same reaction. He was like dumbfounded. And then she's like, or Joe Rogan's like what? Like what on earth is that? And he's dying of laughter. And she's like, Joe, you never heard of that illiterate dick? That's when like the best sex I ever had was from a nigga that couldn't read. I was like, yo, what? Because he had no job. He wasn't shit. So all he did was practice. I was dying, God, man. Bro. Like she's so funny. She's from ATL.
I gotta watch that, man. I gotta watch. I heard. I think I saw a little snippet of that, and I was like, okay, save. Like I gotta watch this. Yeah. But that was one of those where I'm like, I can't listen to this one.
You gotta watch it.
I gotta watch it. That's the thing. That's why. That's one of the reasons why I decided to have video with my podcast. Because if someone one day is just listening to you and me have this conversation, and they're wondering like, wonder what these guys look like. I wonder what their little quirks, their little mannerisms. I wonder. You do literally just wonder what someone looks like sometimes. And sometimes I'll even be watching like a podcast and there's a guest and I'll like Google like, yo,
same.
Who's this person? Like just get a little quick. Okay. Yeah. Now I'm gonna enjoy this more because I got like a mental image. I'm very visual like that. Same. You know, that's why I appreciate having video. And as much as I hate going back and looking at myself or hearing myself on this shit. Is the worst. I mean, I feel like you got to do it. If you're going to do this, you have to do it right. I'm a big believer in that, right?
Yeah. I like podcasts a lot, man. Like a lot of the books I started reading and other podcasts I started watching all started kind of from Joe Rogan. Like he convinced Miss Pat to start her own podcast and she did. Yeah. And I'm listening to that now and like it's just as funny. It's just her every episode with a couple of her family members and friends, and it's really funny. Like it's called the Pat Down. So if you have Apple Podcasts,
shout
Spotify,
out to the Pat Down.
The Pat Down, man. With
that's
Miss
a great name too.
Yeah, if you can, you should watch that. Like she's hilarious. If you want to hear a funny black woman rant and talk about stuff and mispronounce words in a really funny way, that's the place to be.
Man, I gotta check out her comedy and all that, man.
I haven't seen her comedy though.
I mean, I'm sure she's good, I'm assuming she does comedy, right?
She's a comedian. She's a comedian. But I haven't seen it, but I'm seeing like her talk and interact with people.
She's funny. She's just funny. Naturally. Yeah. Whatever she says, her delivery is just on point. Oh and she's been through it. Yes. It's not like she's bullshitting.
No, she knows. Yeah. She's
that authenticity is something you can't fake. It's literally like, I think that's the future of like radio, podcasting, TV. People just want like real shit. Like obviously not like fiction TV, but you know what I'm saying. Like real shit. Like people want to actually have real conversations. People crave it because like we're like so connected, but we don't have like connections the same way.
It's so connected that it's disconnected. You know
exactly.
what I mean?
It's like almost like you're always connected so much that you don't get to do this as much.
Yeah.
This long form conversation.
It's rare, man. It doesn't happen.
It's rare. Like you and me have never had a conversation like this.
Not like this.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy to think like that. Like even like good friends of mine, how often do you go even hang out, go to dinner, go to this and that, and it's a Wi-Fi party? Everyone's on their phones. Everyone's on IG. Yeah. Yo, look at this baddie. Yo, look at this, that, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Like anything but just talking. Like real talking. Enough. Obviously, it still happens, but you know what I'm saying? It's less. It's not as commonplace as before we had all the phones and we're always looking at a screen, always connected to something, always something needing our immediate attention.
Yep.
Like, that's one thing, like, I'm really trying to work on right now is, like, I mean, I shouldn't even, like, really do this, but I'm straight up, like, when I'm driving, changing music on my phone, this, that, like, too. You know, it's a, I'm guilty, like, for doing it. I should not be, but it's just, like, natural, like, responding to a quick text, like, this is horrible, man. I know I shouldn't be doing this shit, but, whatever, like, well, I'm at a red light, or this, like, you make these, like, little, like, excuses for yourself and justifications, but it's like, yo, did I need to send that off? Do I need to?
No.
See this DM, see this, blah, blah, blah. Like, so that's the thing. Like, I don't know how I got there from talking about podcasting, but it's just an interesting medium because like think of you're talking about Joe Rogan. Think of how many podcasts he alone is responsible for from his own inner circle. I listen to the Bill Burr podcast, Joey Diaz
Joey
podcast.
Diaz is hilarious.
Joey
dude.
Diaz, Uncle Cook, straight up funniest motherfucker.
Yeah.
That's another one of those dudes who's authentic. He's
John
just being,
Witherspoon too.
that one, don't spoil anything for me.
You haven't seen it?
No,
Oh, that's a
I
good one.
really need to watch that one.
JD.
He's authentically one of the
shoes.
most funny people there is.
Yeah.
And I love that, man. And this kind of format brings that out.
Mhm.
I'm appreciative of it, and like
Same, bro.
I think that's why it's important that people do this. I want everyone to start a podcast. You
Yeah.
mentioned you wanted to start a
I
podcast.
thought about it. Yeah.
I better be a fucking guest one day, bro.
If I had a podcast, you'd be my first guest.
Cheers to that,
Cheers,
man.
man.
Yeah, man. If you were to start a podcast today, what would it be about?
Anything and everything.
Anything and everything, huh?
I wouldn't want to limit it to like one specific thing.
So here's what all
Just kinda
the
start talking.
experts are telling me right now is like, and experts being like people I'm reading about online, some people I'm talking to, people who've actually been doing this, they're all telling me you gotta focus. You gotta have like a niche. You gotta have a targeted market. And I'm kind of struggling with that a bit because to me it's just that. I just want to talk about anything and everything with everyone. Just bring it all on. I want to like, I don't know your picture. Why don't you paint it for me? I want to hear it. I want to know what you do. What are you passionate about? What fires you up? Like,
Yeah.
let's just talk, you know?
Yeah,
But
exactly.
the thing is, like, let's just talk is not, like, I don't know. I guess it's not like something that, I think it's something that a lot of people do. So you kind of might get just lost in the noise and people might not get the value from it that
Mhm.
they want. Because let's say someone really liked a podcast I had with my buddy Hayden about marketing last week, and they fucking hate football. They're not
Yeah.
really gonna want to watch this one, which is fine with me. I don't need them to watch it. You know
Okay.
what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It
yeah,
doesn't.
yeah.
It doesn't really bother me that they don't, but I do want them to keep paying attention because then maybe they'll find another marketing guy
Yeah.
later.
Yeah.
You know, because I want to talk to everyone.
Yeah,
Like,
I know what you
I
mean.
don't want to limit it, but I have been thinking a bit about like some of the things that are important to me personally and things that I would want people to get out of this is pretty much just like embracing your vulnerability and like hacking into like your insecurities a bit and kind of just like, because as men we're always told like, yo,
Gotta be tough, man.
you gotta be a tough guy. Like, what you showing these emotions? Like, you
Yeah.
a pussy, bro? Like, nah, man. Like, I think it actually takes like a stronger person to actually embrace your emotions and actually
Facts.
talk about things. And also, I'm a big fan of like self improvement and like personal development and growth.
Same.
I'm never satisfied, and that might be a bad thing, but I always want to be doing better. I always know I could be doing better, and I think a lot of people could do better too,
Yeah.
and could gain something from that. And that's not to say we all gotta be walking around perfect. Like, I'm the furthest thing, but every day I try to take some kind of lesson or something from somebody or
Yeah.
some event
Yeah.
and try to like turn that into a positive catalyst for my own life. And it might even open some kind of opportunity one day down the line where like I will accelerate my own happiness and my
Yeah.
own, fulfillment.
Yeah, bro. And one of the big things, like going back on something you said, is you mentioned kind of talking to people and growing and getting better and happier. And one thing that I kind of noticed a little while ago, and I don't think it's talked about enough, is that what a lot of people will kind of think about is when you're talking with someone and you disagree with them, that you shouldn't talk to that person anymore, that there's no value to be had from the conversation. But I think really that's the conversations that yield the most value. When you disagree with someone, the conversation shouldn't be, oh, you're stupid, I think this, I'm right, you're wrong. The conversation should be more like, okay, I think this, you think that. Why do you think that? What
Yeah.
makes you think that?
Yeah.
And then when they explain themselves and it's not a hostile kind of conversation, and they can, kind of lay back, lay out the facts that as they know it in their mind, then from that point you can refute the points that you know for sure to be true in the same way,
Yeah.
not in an argumentative kind of way, but in a relaxed kind of civil kind of way. And from that point you just kind of get the clear picture of what someone really thinks. A lot of times what happens is someone will tell you an opinion that differs from yours, and you'll kind of get defensive and heated. And then when someone's defensive and heated, you're never going to get their best argument.
Nope.
Never. They're going to be emotional. They're not going to be able to think properly. But if you have it in a civil kind of way and you're like, why do you think that? Like, I want to know what makes you think what you think. You're going to get a picture. Maybe you'll even agree with them after, or maybe you'll just get a respect for them, and you'll be like, okay, he thinks that. I think that is different.
You understand now where they're coming from, and you're better off for it. Exactly. You don't have to agree with anything that they say.
You gain perspective. Because you know where the person opposite you is coming from.
Facts, man.
And that's how you gain wiseness and intelligence and more perspective, as we're saying.
I was talking to somebody I know who is an American, and I had met them, and without getting into too much detail, we were just talking, and pretty under the influence.
Yeah.
But we were just talking and getting loose, and like, you know what, we obviously got into the topic of politics. Mm-hmm. I don't know how it ended up there, but it happens.
It always does.
And so it's like I voted for Donald Trump. I'm like, but like my first instinct in my head is like, oh really? Like damn, like I get to like meet a Donald Trump supporter like in the flesh. Like I want to know what it's about. Like, and I approached it in a way out of pure curiosity, man. I picked this guy's brain for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. Like we were just talking. Like I just want to hear, man, all the arguments. And like, dude, I gained so much perspective from that conversation, and I vowed to never judge someone's political opinion again without
asking them about it, pretty much, right?
Not even just asking them about it. Just like, I don't need to judge wherever you're coming from. I want to just know what it is, where you are coming from. And I still might not agree with it. And, there are some points that are very strong, and yeah, that's fine. But like, it's okay. It is what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
We're still boys. Like we could still, there's no animosity. There's no like, now fuck this guy.
Never like that.
It's like I gained a lot of perspective, and I now know, like, I feel like I'm better for it because now I know how a certain group of people think.
Exactly.
It's dope.
It's big, man.
You don't have to agree with everyone, man. Those are the weirdest people who are just like, yeah. You ever met someone just say to everything, and you're just like, bro, have a backbone.
Exactly.
Have a fucking opinion. Say something that has substance. When you
say something, but you messed up, and they agree with you before you correct yourself.
And you're just like,
yeah. And then they correct themselves with you, and you're like, oh.
Okay. Yeah. No, I was just fucking around too, bro. Yeah, man. Yeah. All right, bro.
It's not that deep.
It's not that deep, man. That's crazy. Before I let you go, man, we've already crossed an hour, by the way. Isn't that nuts?
Are you serious?
Yeah, man. Wow. Before I let you go, I wanted to ask you one more question about how, I mean, you're one of the dudes I know who has a 9-to-5 job, mm-hmm. and enjoys it.
I love it. Yeah.
You love it. You're one of the people I know who is coaching, is involved in multiple sports, involved in the community, mm-hmm. Involved in recreational sports. You play, you make time for your girlfriend, you make time for your family. You're like, how do you stay balanced, center it all? How do you manage your time? What keeps you you?
Got to have a good schedule. I use my phone, and just kind of everything I got to do, I usually try and put in there. That kind of keeps you on top of things. And then just having the right people around you, right? If you have the right people around you, everything else kind of falls into place. And my family's great for that. They always kind of hold me down. My girlfriend, same thing. My friends, same thing. So once you have a good support system around you, that's really where, to me, it all falls into place. And Yeah.
The support
Makes it
system
easier,
and the
yeah.
schedule.
Yeah, man.
That's amazing, bro. All right, man. Before I let you go, there's something I started doing. Is a little lightning round
Okay.
before we end off today.
Nice.
The questions are not sophisticated by any means.
That's okay.
I'm actually really bad at doing this.
That's okay.
But I thought it's a better way to end the podcast.
Do I got to answer fast? Is that why it's called the lightning round?
It's called a lightning round, but just answer.
Okay.
But don't answer fully. Just give me
Okay.
the answer.
Sure.
I don't know if that makes sense, but
I'll
one
give it my
product
best, bro.
or service you feel super guilty splurging on.
Kicks.
A type of product or service. Kicks.
Yo, I love kicks.
I knew that answer before you even said it. One product or service you feel absolutely no shame spending money on.
Dolphins gear.
Dolphins gear.
I love my Miami Dolphins, man. I'm about to cop 2 more jerseys maybe in my next pay or the pay after that. I love the Dolphins.
All right. Favorite late night eats in Ottawa?
Late night eats. How late is late?
I mean, like, let's say past 11?
Past 11. Favorite late night eats. Man, that's a tough one.
Oh, we've had someone say McDonald's, so don't worry about it.
Nah.
Just tell me quickly.
Better.
What's the dankest food you've had out some night, Ottawa?
Man, that's tough. Shit, I don't even know.
All right, I'll come back to it.
Yeah, come back to it.
Someone offers you tickets to a Miami Dolphins Super Bowl. So you already know this is a hypothetical.
Fuck.
But you only get the tickets if you could never attend an NFL game again in your life.
After that?
Yeah.
How old am I? Like today?
This year.
No.
This year.
No.
Do you take the tickets or not?
No.
Nah?
No.
All right. Let's just finish with the what food you want to eat. If you don't have an answer, what's your dankest restaurant?
I like Moxie's calamari.
All right, Moxie's
They put the
calamari,
shrimps
man.
in there too. They hold it down, man. Those are
Moxie's
really good.
calamari. It's not that deep.
It's not that deep.
Brandon, thanks for coming on, man. Really appreciate it,
Appreciate it,
bro.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, man. Take care.
I got you, bro.
I really enjoyed that conversation with Brandon, and I hope you did too. I hope you got some kind of value from it. And if you did, hit the subscribe button. And if you really want to see more of this kind of thing, consider supporting me via my Patreon page. Thank you.